You guys, welcome to another episode of Soft Rebellion. My name is Intat, and thank you so much for joining me. So, I woke up this morning feeling awful. Guys, I felt so fatigued, and I had this headache, and it's not the first time that I've been waking up feeling this way. I haven't been sleeping well lately, and that's partly my fault because my habits have also been questionable. Some of the decisions I've made about doom scrolling before I go to sleep, for instance, haven't really helped my situation. I also haven't been working out, so I do tend to generally feel tired. But I also think the year-end fatigue is also playing a role here. And that's how I woke up feeling so fatigued. Like I haven't been sleeping well because of all these factors. And I thought, oh my goodness, I still have to go to work this morning, But I knew exactly what I needed to do to feel better, My instinct was to think, I need to make a cup of coffee. But I don't have any coffee in the house. And while coffee would have probably given me that shot of energy, it wouldn't have sustained me the whole day. So I got out of bed, put on my shoes and my workout clothes, and I went outside for a walk. Now, before I did all of that, I thought, should I go back to sleep and try to rest or whatever, which would have been useless, by the way, because my 30-year-old body, my 31-year-old body has decided that it's got a body clock, and every day at 5 I wake up without fail. Mind you, I've got an alarm for 5:30, but my body wakes me up long before that. So any attempts to go back to sleep would have been futile because I've been up, And I don't think I would have gotten much rest in an hour when I struggled to get rest the last 6-7 hours that I'd been sleeping. So I decided to go outside and take a walk. This always does the trick for me, by the way, which seems counterintuitive because you imagine when you exercise, you feel tired. But there's also this level of energy that I get from any form of exercise. And so I went outside and I took a walk. I promise you, as soon as I stepped outside, I felt better. I could instantly feel better, and I was just so excited to be taking this walk, to be spending time outside. I haven't been doing that a lot, mostly because, I don't know, I've just been unmotivated. But this is also part of the point I want to talk about, I had to take an action. I had to do something. And the going outside for me was the trick. And I took a walk. Just the morning breeze made me feel better. Hearing the birds in the morning made me feel better. Feeling the sun on my skin made me feel better. Seeing a cute guy on my walk also made me feel better. The possibilities are limitless when you step outside. You know what I mean? And this is honestly just meant to encourage you to take that step and do something when you're feeling awful. And that something is not going to be in a cup of coffee or, that glass of energy drink, because although that may work temporarily, it's not sustainable. Before the day ends, you're gonna crash. It's not on your phone. It's not, finding that motivation in a video or seeing how other people are doing their things and therefore think it's gonna propel you. No, it's not on your phone. It's in taking that action. You know what I mean? It's movement that propels you. And as soon as I stepped outside, it got me thinking about the concept of happiness and joy and motivation and success, or, all these things that make us feel good, that propel us forward, And I thought, actually, looking back at my life, anytime I felt unhappy, I used that as an indication that something needed to change. I had to take an action after getting that feedback that, hey, I'm not happy about this thing, so I needed to change it. And only then do I feel happy. The happiness comes afterwards. The feeling of better, of joy, of of happiness only comes after an action has been taken. The same as, motivation. It might not necessarily come before. It doesn't always come before. You have to go to the gym to feel better, to feel motivated to continue. And you have to take that walk. You have to go for that run to feel motivated to do this thing more. You don't feel like running for you to run, at least not in the long run, and certainly not when it matters. You don't feel happy and therefore you do the things that you want to do. The happiness comes afterwards, It's not in that credit card also, or swiping away or clearing that cart. And while that may give us momentary happiness, or even taking a vacation, it's not sustainable. Those are not things you can do every day. And that's why I'm so deliberate about feeling better and even finding happiness being in the small things. Literally stepping outside of your house, guys, and feeling grass on your feet does wonders. And like before you know it, you feel so much better. And it's only because you took that small step. So happiness is outside, and happiness is after, or it comes after having made that decision and acting on it. And I think about success too. Success doesn't just happen because you think about it or because you want it. It comes after making an action. You're like, oh, I really want to achieve this thing. So you study. You study for that exam. Or you put in the work in your business, in your venture, whatever it is. I had to step out for me to get an idea for this podcast episode this morning. Otherwise, there's no way I would have been motivated to do it, and I probably wouldn't have had content that's relevant to talk about in this podcast until I stepped outside. I think about some of the things I talk about here. I'm drawing from my own personal experiences. And I wouldn't have been able to do that were I not out there living my life. You get me? Yesterday I was working on this survey. Someone on the podcast match reached out and they were like, oh, congratulations. Please complete the survey and whatnot. It's going to tell you about the type of podcaster you are. And I remember going through this podcast and they were asking me am I ever worried about running out of content to talk about? And I thought, no, man, that isn't a concern I've got. I've never, once been worried that I'd run out of things to talk about because I'm alive and I'm living my life and I'm out there every day, doing something. And as a result, I know that I'll always find something of value or something, a lesson in all these experiences I've got outside or that are occurring as part of my life. So I'm not concerned that I'm going to run out of content to talk about. And the only reason I'm not concerned is because I'm out there actively living, being an active participant in my own life. Like, life is not passing me by, guys. Even when I'm in a slump right now, I still move. Like, I'm not moving in the gym as I generally do, or even running to the extent that I normally do. But there is still movement. I am still going on those walks. I am still taking my mat and doing yoga outside in the morning and then drinking my ginger tea with garlic, and all these things contribute to my state of well-being, and feeling happy and content. And so I really just want to encourage you today to take that action when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. And I promise you that the happiness comes afterwards. I don't know if you guys have ever felt, that gym rush that comes afterwards and you're like, oh my goodness, I feel so good. I could literally lift a bridge right now. Like, I could lift an entire car because those hormones are just flowing through after, your gym session or running. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel amazing. This is how I feel about, having taken a walk this morning. And I feel so much better, I also drank a cup of water, so even that made me feel better, and I really do want to encourage that we take these small actions that make us feel better, and these small actions that are sustainable, which mean we can continue doing them in the long run without causing any harm to ourselves. We can't do that with energy drink, guys. And I do hope one day when I get a sponsorship with an energy drink company, it's one that considers all these concerns. But liver failure and liver damage is a serious concern with young people, especially because of the rate at which we drink energy drinks. There's people who drink that every day because they're so depleted, they're lacking energy. But that's not sustainable, And the sustainable ways of creating energy are through movement. The body is very interesting. Like, the body has everything that we need. I think the universe has everything that we need, and we just need to use those tools at our disposal, as opposed to getting external inputs to try and make ourselves feel better, because that doesn't work. Even with coffee, there's consequences to drinking coffee all the time, to try and... Also, that's not energy stores that exist within you, You're taking an external substance to try and give yourself energy. It may work for a short term, but in the long term, you need to be able to produce the energy that you need for yourself, for you to function. And that's why I really swear about taking that walk and letting the sun warm you up and energize you. The sun is so energizing. Like, my friend Rena can tell you, if I've sat on the couch in the morning and allowed the sun to sit on my skin, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so energetic. And she knows I'm not a morning person. Like, I'm usually so grumpy in the morning. But when I've had the sun, honey, like when I've sunbathed, I'm a completely different person. And I didn't know this until she mentioned it. So please do that. And I promise you're going to feel so much better. And yeah, guys, I'm honestly just here today to say energy is on the other side of the thing you're avoiding to do. It's on the other side of the action that you're avoiding to do. Even if you were unhappy about your weight, for instance, and you're like, oh my goodness, I've gained so much weight. I've been in that position as well. And I promise you, happiness with yourself is on the other side of taking an action. I think how I've approached exercise and fitness for me isn't based on that outcome, of what I look like, my dream body. It's based on that exercise. When I take that action, when I take that walk, I feel better. And I choose to focus on those small things. And I promise you, they do build up. In the long run, they do amount to something. Suddenly, you look like your dream self, But also, there's no way you wouldn't love yourself after feeling the endorphins in the morning, I don't know. I just really swear by my walk. And I remember also last week at work, this is not just in the morning before I go to work, but last week, I think it was last week, Friday, I was getting so anxious, because I'd been in meetings all morning. I'd barely had time to eat breakfast. So you can imagine that my energy levels were really, really low. And yet I constantly had to be in conversation with people and talk. And I just barely had any time to breathe. And if you know me, you know that I love schedule. I love starting my morning slow and then just building up. So when I'm thrusted into it, it does destabilize me a little bit, especially when I haven't eaten. So I still had more meetings to attend during the day, and I thought, I need a break. Like, something has got to change, because I feel my body is vibrating with anxiety. I decided to take a walk, and I went outside and I changed my shoes. I was wearing a boot with a heel. So obviously that's not practical. I keep the clothes in my car, so I had sneakers to change into, and I took a walk, and I promise you, almost instantly, I felt so much better, and I realized I'd never really taken a walk at work, and there's all these trees and birds, and I felt so much better. Guys, I really swear by a walk. Oh, and I know this sounds so weird and grown up and like some midlife crisis, thing, but I swear by a walk. Like, guys, walks will solve your problems. And I really do want to encourage you guys to use that tool. It's incredible how much better you feel from simply taking an action, like something so small, like, going for a walk. So I really did want to encourage you guys to say, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling unhappy or dull, whatever it is, whatever negative emotion that you're feeling, it's just feedback to say, hey, you've got to take an action. And that action could be as small as taking a walk. It could be as small as going to the gym, making or doing that exercise that you've been avoiding, getting your feet on the ground to feel the grass. I promise you, it's going to regulate you and you'll feel better. Getting the sun on your skin, that's very important. And I know it's a white people thing, but like I promise you, it does work. It adds value. So happiness is on the other side of an action. And I really do hope that this encourages you to take that small action, take that small step, because that's the only way you're gonna feel better. So thank you guys for joining me and for listening. I do hope to see you